Lifting the Veil of Prejudice, Encountering the Essence of Life in D.H. Lawrence's Lady Chatterley's Lover. A reading essay. Those who feel that the words knowledge and culture seem distant or difficult may find solace in this essay. Some may find reading burdensome, or feel intimidated by the mere mention of classics. However, books are never there to teach or judge us. Rather, they offer diverse perspectives to understand the world and help us explore parts of ourselves that we have yet to discover. Today, I wish to discuss Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence, a work once stigmatized as pornographic and faced global condemnation, yet possessing profound insight into the essence of human life and relationships. When you hear the title of this book, many of you might have an immediate, vague prejudice, associating it with an obscene novel. Indeed, upon its publication, this work was engulfed in unprecedented obscenity controversy and banned in many countries. It took years of legal battles before it was finally recognized as a literary masterpiece. Reducing Lady Chatterley's Lover to a mere tale of physical love is akin to overlooking its true, profound message. This book transcends generations, questioning the fundamental nature of life, relationships, social hypocrisy, and genuine happiness. It presents truths that remain relevant in our present time, truths that may discomfort us but are necessary to confront. 1. A controversial work born from breaking taboos. The background and controversy of Lady Chatterley's Lover. Lady Chatterley's Lover was written by D.H. Lawrence in 1928. This was a time just after World War I, when Western society was undergoing immense spiritual and social changes. The war not only took countless lives but also shook traditional values and morality. While industrialization brought material prosperity, it simultaneously cast shadows of human alienation and environmental destruction. In particular, British society was still deeply rooted in rigid class systems and the repressive moral codes of the Victorian era. Lawrence harbored strong critical sentiments toward a society that suppressed human instinct and vitality. He believed that contemporary society overly exalted intellectualism and rationality while neglecting bodily desires and emotions. For Lawrence, the body was the mirror of the soul and the source of human vitality, and only when the body and mind were harmoniously integrated could one truly live a human life. Lady Chatterley's Lover encapsulates precisely this philosophy. The story of Lady Chatterley, Constance, who seeks the meaning of life through a physical relationship with a forest worker rather than her paralyzed husband, caused massive shock in its time. Particularly, the explicit sexual descriptions and the use of four-letter words were deemed scandalous and led to the book being banned in many countries, including the UK. It was only after a long period of private publication that it eventually saw the light of day. It wasn't until the 1960s that, after fierce legal battles in Britain and the United States, the book was recognized as a literary work, securing its right to publication. This trial became a crucial turning point in the discussion of literary freedom and the limits of censorship. If we approach this book with knowledge of its controversial history, we can better understand the deeper intentions behind Lawrence's writing. Lawrence wasn't merely seeking to break taboos, he aimed to revive the natural vitality of humanity, which had been suppressed by a hypocritical society. 2. Awakening the Soul through Forbidden Love. Plot summary and key characters. Now let us briefly examine the plot of Lady Chatterley's Lover and explore the symbolic meanings of its main characters. Constance Reed, Lady Chatterley, Connie, the protagonist, is a sensitive and intellectual upper-class woman. Born to an aristocratic family, she marries Clifford Chatterley, a promising young nobleman. However, after Clifford becomes paralyzed in the war, Connie feels emotional and physical emptiness in her marriage. While she finds intellectual satisfaction in her husband's conversations, she gradually feels her soul withering in a life devoid of vitality. Externally, Connie appears to have everything, but internally, she yearns for the meaning and fulfillment of genuine life. Clifford Chatterley, Connie's husband and a young nobleman from an aristocratic family. After his spinal injury, he focuses solely on intellectual and material success. He is cynical and analytical, often disdainful of human emotions and bodily desires. Though he constantly writes novels and engages in intellectual exchanges, his life lacks warmth and vitality. Clifford symbolizes the alienation of humanity in industrial civilization and the intellectual-centric life separated from the body. He neither demands physical intimacy with his wife nor feels its necessity. Olivier Mellors, the gamekeeper at Chatterley's estate and Connie's lover. He is from the working class, in stark contrast to Clifford. Mellors lives a sensual and instinctive life, embodying the primal vitality lost in industrialized society. Though rough and blunt on the surface, he is sincere and pure in his sensual desires and emotions. While society might regard him as insignificant due to his class, Lawrence uses him to showcase the value of true life and vitality. Plot summary: feeling emotional and physical emptiness in her marriage with the paralyzed Clifford, Connie considers having a child with another man at his suggestion. She meets Mellors, the estate's gamekeeper, and initially dismisses him due to their class differences. However, she is gradually drawn to his intense, instinctual vitality. Through a physical relationship with Mellors, Connie regains the suppressed sensual desires and vitality she had long forgotten. Their relationship transcends mere physical pleasure, becoming a journey of healing their souls and rediscovering their true selves. Connie experiences emotional and spiritual renewal through her connection with Mellors, including communion with nature and sensuality. However, their relationship, which defies the rigid class system and morality of the time, is eventually discovered by people around them, causing major upheaval. Facing societal condemnation and prejudice, Connie refuses to abandon the new meaning in her life that she has found through her love with Mellors. Ultimately, she decides to leave everything behind and start a new life with Mellors. Though the novel hints at the challenges their future may hold, it concludes with the courageous and bold decision of the two characters to choose genuine love and vitality. 3. Deep messages beyond prejudice. The implications of the book Lady Chatterley's Lover is not merely a romantic affair. This work demands profound reflection on human life and relationships and conveys the following important messages. A. The integration of body and mind and the restoration of genuine vitality. Lawrence illustrates the hollowness and inhumanity of a life where the body and mind are separated. Clifford, though intellectually gifted, has lost his bodily sensations and vitality, his life becoming dry and lifeless. In contrast, Mellors, though rough and simple, is faithful to his connection with nature and bodily sensations, possessing intense vitality. Connie regains not only her suppressed bodily sensations, but also her mental vitality through her physical relationship with Mellors. To Lawrence, sexuality was not merely a means of pleasure but a sacred act that allows human beings to reunite with nature, deeply understand each other, and heal their dried-out souls. He warns that when we alienate ourselves from our bodily senses, we also lose the essential fullness of life. This message remains relevant in modern society. Is our life, fixated solely on rationality and materialism and ignoring the voice of our bodies and senses, truly fulfilling? B. Critique of the class system and industrial civilization. This novel is set against the backdrop of deep-rooted class conflict in English society. Clifford, as a representative of the decaying aristocracy and industrial civilization, views human labor and nature as tools to be exploited. He demands the workers of his estate to extract more coal to accumulate wealth, perceiving nature as a subject to be conquered. In contrast, Mellors, a working-class character, values the life of being in harmony with nature. Through this contrast, Lawrence criticizes industrial civilization for destroying human essence and breaking the harmony between humanity and nature, ultimately leading to human alienation. He underscores that knowledge and culture are not exclusive privileges of the upper class but essential for all who seek to understand the essence of life and live in harmony with nature. Given today's escalating environmental destruction and human alienation, Lawrence's critique gains even more persuasive power. C. The subjectivity of women's lives and desires. Connie becomes a protagonist who actively seeks her own desires and happiness, breaking free from the passive role of being under the protection of her husband and societal status. She dares to challenge societal prejudice and moral codes, embracing her own senses and desires, and forging her own life. In her era, marriage and childbirth were often seen as social obligations for women, and their desires were suppressed or taboo. Connie's story transcends the constraints of its time, emphasizing the importance of women's sexual agency and self-discovery. This work not only initiated open discussions about sexuality but also posed crucial questions about women's rights and autonomy, influencing the feminist movement. The courage to take ownership of one's life and to listen to one's inner voice is a necessity for all of us, regardless of the era. D. Literary freedom and the dissolution of social taboos. The history of censorship and legal battles that Lady Chatterley's lover endured ignited important discussions on the role of literature and freedom of expression. At the time, the court had to decide whether the book possessed literary value or was merely obscene. Ultimately, having been recognized as a literary work, the case became a pivotal moment in which literature gained the freedom to explore human life in a multifaceted way, challenging social taboos. The book prompts us to question the boundaries of what society deems obscene and whether human desires truly suppressed by society can be concealed forever. Reading empowers us to tear away the veil of social taboos and prejudices, cultivating the strength to see the world with a broader perspective. 4. To those who find reading difficult, the lessons of Lady Chatterley's lover. For those who feel they lack knowledge or culture, Lady Chatterley's lover may initially seem challenging. However, this book does not speak in abstract philosophy or complex theories. It instead presents a journey to seek answers to questions that all of us have pondered. What is genuine happiness? What is love? What kind of life do I wish to live? The courage to break prejudices. This book teaches us not to judge anything solely based on appearances or rumors. The process of uncovering the true message hidden behind the label of obscenity is a practice of breaking down the numerous prejudices and stereotypes we encounter daily. True value in reading lies not in accepting what others say is good or bad, but in cultivating the strength to experience and judge for ourselves. The process of being honest with oneself. Like the protagonist Connie, aren't we also suppressing our true desires and feelings due to societal expectations or others' opinions? This book encourages us to listen to our inner voice and embrace our senses and desires courageously. Understanding and respecting oneself is the beginning of true life. The quest for the essence of relationships. We live in countless relationships. This book emphasizes the importance of holistic relationships, including physical sensations, that cannot be fulfilled by material success or intellectual exchanges alone. It will serve as a moment for deep reflection on what genuine communication and connection mean and what is essential in a relationship with a loved one. A broader perspective of the world. Classics are not only stories from the past but also mirrors that reflect the present. Through this book, we glimpse the society of early 20th century Britain and the struggles its people faced. We also realize how similar their struggles are to ours today. Reading is a training of experiencing another's life beyond time and space and broadening and deepening our understanding of the world through that experience. 5. Conclusion. A journey toward the essence of life with Lady Chatterley's lover. D.H. Lawrence's Lady Chatterley's lover is more than a novel. Once condemned by society, it was eventually recognized as a great literary achievement for its profound critique of hypocrisy and its celebration of human vitality and genuine relationships. This book proves that knowledge and culture we often discuss are not merely the filling of our minds with information, but the wisdom necessary for understanding the world, reflecting on ourselves, and living a better life. If you find reading difficult or are unsure which book to read, I strongly recommend you dare to open Lady Chatterley's Lover. You may initially feel discomfort or unfamiliar emotions. However, as you turn each page, you will discover Lawrence's deep insights and genuine affection for humanity beyond the surface label of obscenity. This book asks us, are you truly alive? Is your life filled with the harmonious vitality of body and mind? Or are you withering and hollowed out within societal constructs? In the journey to answer these questions, we will discover a more mature version of ourselves and naturally gain wisdom and culture to understand the world. Lady Chatterley's Lover will become a precious reading experience that brings genuine vitality to your life. Requirements. 1. Translation must be understandable by native English speakers. 2. Include only accurate content without hallucination.